Captain Deho stood on the bridge of the Silent Dawn and watched the stars. His ship was different from all other human ships. It could become invisible. The aliens could not see it on their screens or with their eyes. This was humanity's secret. Weapon in a war they were losing badly. The ship was small compared to the giant alien warships. It had only 20 crew members. Su Jin was the navigation officer. She was young, but very smart. She could fly the ship through dangerous places without being caught. Hyunwoo controlled the weapons. He was quiet but deadly when fighting. Bora worked in the engine room. She knew every pipe and wire in the ship better than anyone. 3 months ago, the Valyrian Empire had attacked Earth's colonies. The aliens were strong and had many ships. They destroyed human fleets like they were toys. Their ships were bigger and their weapons were stronger. Humans were dying everywhere. The war looked hopeless. Admiral Tai Min had called Dae-ho to his office on Ilid, Earth's last major space station. The old man looked tired and sad. "We are losing this war," he had said. "Our big ships cannot fight their big ships and win, but maybe a small ship that they cannot see can do what our fleets cannot." That was when Dae-ho learned about the Ghost Protocol. Scientists had built the Silent Dawn in secret. The ship used quantum phase technology to bend light and energy around itself. When the stealth system was on, the ship became like a ghost. Sensors could not find it. Eyes could not see it. It was there, but not there at the same time. "Your job is simple," Admiral Taemin had explained. "Go behind enemy lines. Hit them where they do not expect it. Make them afraid. Make them wonder what is hunting them in the dark." Now Dae-ho and his crew were deep in Valyrian space. They had been hunting alien ships for 2 weeks. The aliens still did not know humans had stealth technology. When human ships attacked them, the aliens thought the ships just appeared from nowhere. "Captain," Su Jin said from her station, "I have found something on the long-range sensors." Dae-ho walked over to look at her screen. "What is it?" "A Valyrian fleet. 6 ships. They are attacking New Sol Colony." Dae-ho felt his heart become cold. New Sol was home to 50,000 humans. Families lived there. Children played in the streets. Old people sat in gardens. It was peaceful and beautiful. "How long until we reach them?" he asked. 4 hours if we push the engines hard," Su Jin replied. "Do it." The Silent Dawn moved through space like a ghost ship. Its engines were quiet. Its hull did not reflect light. Even if someone looked right at it, they would see only empty space and distant stars. When they arrived at New Sol Colony, the battle was almost over. The colony's small defense ships were burning wrecks floating in space. The Valyrian ships were big and gray with sharp edges. They looked like metal sharks. Their weapons were shooting at the colony buildings on the planet below. "They are killing civilians," Hyunwoo said. His voice was angry but controlled. Dae-ho watched the alien ships destroy homes and schools. He saw explosions where families had lived just minutes before. His hands made fists. "We cannot save the colony now, but we can make them pay for what they have done." "What are your orders, Captain?" Su Jin asked. "We hunt them. All of them. One by one. We make them understand that death has come for them." The Silent Dawn moved closer to the alien fleet. The Valyrian ships could not see it coming. They were busy destroying the colony and did not watch for enemies behind them. "Target the smallest ship first," Dae-ho ordered. "Hit their engines. Make it so they cannot run away." Hyunwoo locked weapons on the Valyrian destroyer. It was still big compared to the Silent Dawn, but it was the smallest ship in their fleet. "Weapons ready, Captain." "Fire." The Silent Dawn's weapons hit the alien ship in the back. The destroyer's engines exploded in bright fire. The ship began to spin out of control. "What happened?" Voices shouted over the Valyrian radio channels. Su Jin had hacked their communications so the human crew could listen. "Engine failure, we are hit, but I see no enemy ships." "That is impossible, scan again." "I am scanning. There is nothing there." The other Valyrian ships turned to help their damaged friend, but they could not find what had attacked it. Their sensors showed empty space. The Silent Dawn was invisible to them. "Move us to the next target," Dae-ho ordered. They struck the second ship 20 minutes later. This time Hyunwoo hit the weapon systems. The alien ship's guns stopped working. It was helpless. "Something is attacking us," the Valerian captain screamed over the radio. "But we cannot see it. It is like fighting ghosts." "All ships for me. Defensive positions," ordered the Valerian fleet commander. "Find the enemy." But they could not find what they could not see. The silent dawn moved between them like death itself. It hit one ship, then disappeared. It hit another ship from a different direction. The aliens began shooting at empty space, hoping to hit something. "They are scared," Bora said over the ship's communication system. She was watching the alien radio channels from the engine room. "Good," Daeho replied. "Fear makes people make mistakes." The third ship tried to run away. Sujin followed it easily. The silent dawn was faster and could move without being seen. Hyunwoo destroyed the fleeing ship's life support systems. The alien crew had to abandon ship in escape pods. "Please," one of the aliens begged over the radio. "What are you? What do you want?" Daeho did not answer. The silent dawn moved on to the fourth ship. By the end of the day, 5 of the 6 Valerian ships were destroyed or disabled. Only the flagship remained. Its captain was broadcasting the same message over and over. "This is Fleet Commander Vexmal. Something is hunting us. It strikes without warning. It appears from nowhere. It is like fighting death itself." The silent dawn positioned itself behind the flagship. The alien ship was powerful and dangerous, but it could not fight what it could not see. "Final target," Hyunwoo reported. "Weapons locked." "Fire everything," Daeho ordered. The flagship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the space around New Seoul Colony. But by then, the colony was already dead. 50,000 humans had died while the Silent Dawn fought to avenge them. 1 Valerian survived. A single escape pod drifted in space. Inside was a young alien officer who had seen his entire fleet destroyed by an invisible enemy. "Let him go," Daeho said when Hyunwoo asked if they should destroy the pod. "Let him tell others what happened here. Let him tell them about the ghost ship that hunts in the dark." The escape pod's radio was still working. The young Valerian was broadcasting a terrified message to any ship that could hear him. "Beware the Wraith. The humans have ships that cannot be seen. They strike like death itself. They are ghosts in the void." Daeho smiled coldly as he listened to the alien's fear. This was just the beginning. The war had taken everything from humanity. Now it was time to give the aliens something to fear in return. The silent dawn turned away from the dead colony and disappeared into the darkness between the stars. Somewhere out there, more alien ships were waiting, and death was coming for them all. The message from the scared Valerian officer spread through alien space like wildfire. Every ship captain heard about the invisible enemy that had destroyed an entire fleet. Some believed the story. Others thought it was just fear and panic talking. Admiral Krelva was one of the ones who did not believe. He commanded the Valerian High Fleet from his massive warship called the Iron Fist. The ship was 3 kilometers long and had enough weapons to destroy a moon. "Invisible ships," he said to his officers with a laugh. "What will these humans think of next? Flying carpets, magic swords?" But his officers were not laughing. They had heard too many reports. Ships disappearing, attacks coming from nowhere, entire fleets going silent. "Sir," said his intelligence officer, a female alien named Rixta, "we have lost contact with 17 ships in the last month. All of them reported strange attacks before they went dark." "Equipment failure," Krelva said. "Old ships breaking down, nothing more." But deep inside he was starting to worry. The humans were weak. They had small ships and old weapons. How could they be causing so much trouble? Meanwhile, the Silent Dawn continued its deadly work. Captain Daeho and his crew had become experts at hitting fast and disappearing. They would strike a convoy, destroy the biggest ship, and vanish before the aliens could fight back. Sujin had learned to read alien patrol patterns. She could predict where enemy ships would be and plan the best attack routes. 3 ships moving through the Kepler sector, she reported. They will pass the asteroid field in 6 hours. Perfect, Daeho said. Asteroids give us good cover. We can hide among the rocks and strike when they are closest. But the constant fighting was taking its toll on the crew. Bora had not slept well in weeks. She kept having nightmares about the colony they had failed to save. Sometimes she would wake up screaming the names of people she had never met. "I keep seeing their faces," she told Sujin during a quiet moment in the ship's small dining area. "The families on New Sol. We were too late." Sujin put her hand on Bora's shoulder. "We could not have saved them, but we made sure their killers paid the price." "Is that enough?" Bora asked. "Is revenge worth what we are becoming?" Sujin did not have an answer. None of them did. They were becoming something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. They were becoming the thing that aliens told scary stories about. Hyunwoo was changing too. He spent hours studying alien ship designs, looking for weak spots. He had gotten very good at disabling ships without destroying them completely. This left survivors who could spread more stories about the invisible enemy. "Fear is a weapon," he explained to Daeho. "If we kill everyone, no one can tell others what happened. But if we leave survivors who are scared, they will spread fear to other ships." The plan was working. Valerian ships began traveling in larger groups. They started jumping to random locations instead of following trade routes. Some captains refused to travel at all without heavy escorts. The aliens even started shooting at empty space whenever their sensors detected anything strange. They wasted ammunition firing at rocks, debris, and sometimes nothing at all. One day, the Silent Dawn intercepted a message between two Valerian ships. "This is Captain Mordex of the freight ship Golden Wing. We are afraid to continue our route. Request military escort." "Negative, Golden Wing. All military ships are needed elsewhere. Continue your mission." "Please, we heard what happened to the Steel Claw. They were attacked by the ghost ship. Only 2 survivors in escape pods. They said it came out of nowhere." "Those are just stories, Captain. Keep moving." But the freight ship did not keep moving. It turned around and went back to its home port. Fear was spreading faster than the Silent Dawn could travel. Admiral Krelva finally saw the invisible enemy with his own eyes 3 weeks later. His fleet was patrolling near a human mining station when the Silent Dawn attacked. The first sign of trouble was when the destroyer Blue Hammer suddenly exploded. One moment it was there, the next it was a cloud of burning metal and gas. "What happened?" Krelva demanded. "Unknown, sir. Sensors show no enemy ships." Then the cruiser Bone Crusher lost all power. Its lights went out and it began drifting helplessly. "Something hit our main power core," the cruiser's captain reported. "But we see nothing on sensors." Krelva watched in horror as his ships were attacked by an enemy he could not see. Weapons fire seemed to come from empty space. His ships shot back at nothing, their beams disappearing into the darkness. "It is real," he whispered. "The ghost ship is real." The Silent Dawn struck 3 more times before disappearing completely. 5 ships were damaged or destroyed. The Iron Fist, the most powerful warship in the Valerian fleet, never even saw its attacker. "All ships retreat to safe distance," Krelva ordered. His voice was shaking. As his fleet pulled back, they picked up a transmission on an open channel. It was a human voice, calm and cold. "This is the Wraith. We are death in the darkness. We are the price of your crimes. Run while you can." The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. The space around the mining station was empty and quiet. But everyone knew the invisible killer was still out there, watching, waiting. Krelva returned to Valerian High Command as a changed alien. He no longer laughed at reports of ghost ships. Instead, he demanded resources to develop new sensors and detection methods. "The humans have some kind of stealth technology," he reported to the Supreme Commander. "Our standard sensors cannot detect them. They can strike anywhere, anytime." "How many ships do they have?" the Supreme Commander asked. "We do not know. It could be 1 ship, it could be 100. We never see them until they attack." The Supreme Commander was silent for a long moment. The Valerian Empire had conquered 15 different species. They had never faced an enemy like this before. "What do you recommend?" he finally asked. "Change our strategy. Travel in larger fleets. Avoid isolated routes. And most importantly, develop better sensors. We cannot fight what we cannot see." But the damage was already done. Fear had taken Route in the Valerian military. Captains requested transfers to desk jobs. Crews refused to serve on ships traveling through dangerous sectors. Some units had to be disbanded because too many soldiers resigned. Meanwhile, the Silent Dawn continued its work. Every attack made the legend grow stronger. Every survivor who escaped told a more frightening story. The Wraith became a monster in alien nightmares. In the ship's quiet moments when they were traveling between targets, the crew sometimes talked about what they had become. "Do you think we are the good guys?" Sujin asked one evening. Daeho looked out at the stars through the bridge window. "I think we are what we need to be. The galaxy wanted to see humans as victims. Now they see us as something else." "As monsters?" Bora asked from the doorway. "As something they cannot understand or control," Daeho replied. "And that scares them more than any weapon." Outside the ship, space looked empty and peaceful. But appearances could be deceiving. Death was traveling through that darkness, invisible and patient. And somewhere out there, more alien ships were waiting to learn why humans called their invisible killer the Wraith. War leader Thexnor was the best military mind in the Valerian Empire. He had never lost a battle in 30 years of service. His strategies were studied in military schools across alien space. When the Supreme Commander needed the ghost ship, problem solved, there was only one alien to call. Thexnor was different from other Valerian leaders. He was patient and clever. While other commanders wanted to fight the invisible enemy with bigger weapons and more ships, he studied the attacks. He looked for patterns. He tried to understand how the humans thought. "Fear is their weapon," he told his staff officers. "They do not want to destroy our entire fleet. They want to make us afraid, so we will use their strategy against them." His plan was cruel but effective. Instead of hunting the ghost ship directly, he would force it to come to him. He began attacking human civilian ships and broadcasting their destruction across space. The first target was a passenger liner called the Peaceful Star. It carried 300 humans, including many families. Thexnor's ship surrounded it and gave the passengers 10 minutes to send final messages to their loved ones. "This message is for the invisible coward who hides in the darkness," Thexnor announced over open channels. "You call yourself Death, but you are nothing but a terrorist. Show yourself or watch these innocents die." Captain Daeho and his crew heard the message. They were only 2 hours away from the passenger liner. Sujin plotted the fastest course to reach them. "We can make it," she said. "If we push the engines past safe limits." "Do it," Daeho ordered. But they were too late. By the time the Silent Dawn arrived, the Peaceful Star was debris floating in space. Thexnor had kept his promise. 300 innocent people were dead. "He is trying to make us angry," Hyunwoo said. "Trying to make us make mistakes." "It is working," Bora replied. Her hands were shaking with rage. "We have to stop him." But Thexnor was not finished. 3 days later, he attacked a hospital ship. A week after that, he destroyed a school transport carrying young people to safety. Each time, he broadcast the attack and challenged the Wraith to show itself. Admiral Taemin contacted the Silent Dawn after the 4th civilian massacre. His voice was tired and sad over the encrypted channel. "I know what you want to do," he said to Daeho, "but you must stay hidden. If we lose you, we lose our only advantage in this war." "While we hide, innocents die," Daeho replied. "I know, but if you reveal yourself to save a few hundred people, millions more will die when the aliens learn our secrets." It was the hardest decision Daeho had ever made. He ordered his crew to maintain stealth protocols. They would continue their invisible war while civilians died, and their killer challenged them to fight. The crew began to break apart under the pressure. Bora stopped eating and barely slept. She spent all her time in the engine room, pushing the ship's systems harder and harder. "I lost my family in the first colony attack," she told Sujin one night. "My parents, my sister, my little brother. I joined this crew to make the aliens pay. But what good is revenge if we cannot protect the innocent?" Sujin did not know what to say. She felt the same anger and helplessness. They had become the thing aliens feared most, but they could not save the people they cared about most. The breaking point came when Thexnor attacked a refugee convoy. The ships were carrying survivors from destroyed colonies, including many children. Among the passengers were Minho, So-young, and Jae-won, 3 young people that the Silent Dawn had rescued from a previous attack. Dae-ho watched on the ship's screens as Thexnor's forces surrounded the convoy. The alien war leader was broadcasting again, calling for the Wraith to show itself. "This ends now," Dae-ho said. "Soo-jin, I want you to do something that has never been done before." "What do you mean, Captain?" "Instead of hiding our ship, I want you to make copies of it. Use the stealth system to create false sensor images. Make them think we are not one ship but many ships." Soo-jin stared at him. "That is impossible. The quantum phase technology does not work that way. Make it work. Bo-ra, I need you to overload the stealth generators. Push them past every safety limit." Bo-ra's eyes lit up with understanding. "If we split the quantum field into multiple echoes, we could create ghost images, but the power drain would be enormous. We might burn out the entire system." "Do it." For the next hour, Bo-ra and Soo-jin worked together to modify the ship's stealth system. They rewired power connections and reprogrammed the quantum field generators. The work was dangerous. One mistake could destroy the ship. Finally, they were ready. The Silent Dawn approached Thexnor's fleet while the convoy tried to escape. But instead of one invisible ship, the aliens suddenly detected dozens of contacts on their sensors. "What is happening?" Thexnor demanded from his command ship. "Multiple contacts, sir. At least 20 ships decloaking around us." But the contacts were not real ships. They were echoes created by the Silent Dawn's modified stealth system. To Valyrian sensors, it looked like an entire fleet of ghost ships had surrounded them. "Impossible," Thexnor whispered. "The humans do not have that. Many stealth ships." The Phantom fleet attacked from all directions. Weapons fire seemed to come from everywhere at once. Thexnor's ships tried to fight back, but they were shooting at shadows and echoes. In the confusion, the real Silent Dawn rescued the convoy. They used the chaos to evacuate the civilian ships to safety. Minho, So-young, Jae-won, and hundreds of other innocents were saved. But the victory came at a cost. The overloaded stealth system was burning out. Sparks flew from control panels as the quantum generators overheated. "The system is failing," Bo-ra reported. "We are becoming visible." Parts of the Silent Dawn flickered in and out of sight as the stealth field collapsed. For the first time, Valyrian sensors got clear readings on the ghost ship. "There," Thexnor shouted. "The real ship. All weapons. Target that vessel." The Silent Dawn barely escaped as alien weapons fire lit up the space around them. They disappeared into the darkness, but not before Thexnor's sensors had recorded detailed information about their ship. "Analyze everything," the war leader ordered. "Hull composition, engine signatures, weapons types. I want to know everything about that ship." Back on the Silent Dawn, the crew surveyed the damage. The stealth system was badly damaged. They could still become invisible, but not for long periods. And they could not create the Phantom fleet effect again. "We saved them," Soo-jin said, thinking. "About the rescued civilians?" "Yes," Dae-ho replied, "but we showed the enemy too much. They know more about us now." Bo-ra was working frantically to repair the damaged systems. "I can fix most of it, but it will take time. And we will never be completely invisible again. The enemy will know what to look for." Despite the damage, something important had changed. Word of the Phantom fleet spread through both human and alien space. People began to believe that humanity had not just one ghost ship, but an entire fleet of invisible vessels. The legend was growing beyond reality. Every strange sensor reading, every unexplained equipment failure, every ship that disappeared was blamed on the human ghost fleet. Fear was becoming a weapon more powerful than any real ship. Thexnor studied the sensor data from the battle. He was beginning to understand how human stealth technology worked. But understanding and stopping it were two different things. "They are not ghosts," he told his officers. "They are just using technology we do not understand yet. But technology can be defeated with better technology." He began developing new detection methods and quantum sensors. The hunt for the Wraith was about to become much more dangerous. On the Silent Dawn, Daeho looked at the stars and wondered how long their luck would last. They had become legend, but legends could die, just like anyone else. And somewhere out there, the smartest military mind in the Valerian Empire was working to destroy them. War leader Thexnor worked day and night for 2 months to build his trap. He studied every piece of data from the Phantom Fleet battle. He analyzed the rescue footage frame by frame. Slowly, he began to understand how human stealth technology worked. It bends quantum fields around the ship, he explained to his science team. The ship is still there, but sensors cannot detect it. However, the quantum distortion creates tiny ripples in space. If we can track those ripples, his scientists built a network of quantum entanglement sensors. The devices could detect the smallest changes in space-time. When the ghost ship moved through an area, it would leave traces that normal sensors could not see. Deploy the detection grid in the Titan sector, Thexnor ordered. That area has the most ghost ship activity. When the Wraith appears, we will be ready. Meanwhile, the Silent Dawn continued its deadly work. Captain Daeho and his crew had developed new tactics to work around their damaged stealth system. They could not stay invisible as long as before, but they had learned to strike faster and disappear quicker. Convoy approaching the Titan sector, Su-Jin reported. 6 cargo ships with 2 destroyer escorts. Standard attack pattern, Daeho ordered. Hit the escorts first, then disable the cargo ships. We want survivors to spread more fear. But this time was different. As soon as the Silent Dawn entered the sector, Thexnor's detection grid activated. Invisible sensors throughout the area began tracking quantum ripples left by the ghost ship. "Contact!" the Valerian sensor operator shouted. "The detection grid is working. I have the Wraith's location." Thexnor smiled coldly. After months of being hunted by an invisible enemy, he finally had the advantage. "All ships, converge on those coordinates. Do not let it escape." The Silent Dawn struck the convoy as planned. Hyunwoo's weapons disabled both destroyers in quick succession. But as they moved to attack the cargo ships, Su-Jin noticed something wrong. "Captain, I am reading. Multiple ships approaching fast. They seem to know exactly where we are." "Impossible," Daeho said. "We are still invisible." "Not to them," Su-Jin replied with growing fear. "They are heading straight for us." 12 Valerian warships appeared around the Silent Dawn. Their weapons were already aimed at the ghost ship's location. Thexnor's trap had worked perfectly. "This is War Leader Thexnor," came a voice over the communication channels. "I can see you, Wraith. Your invisibility is worthless now. Surrender and your crew will be treated as prisoners of war." Daeho looked at his crew. Bo-Ra was already working to boost power to the engines. Hyunwoo was targeting the nearest enemy ship. Su-Jin was calculating escape routes. None of them would surrender. "All ships, open fire," Thexnor ordered. Space lit up with weapons fire as 12 alien ships shot at the same location. The Silent Dawn's shields absorbed most of the damage, but the ship shook violently under the assault. "Shields down to 60%, Bo-Ra reported from the engine room. "Return fire," Daeho ordered. "Target their command ship." The Silent Dawn's weapons struck Thexnor's flagship, but the alien ship's shields held. The ghost ship was powerful, but it could not fight 12 enemies at once. "They have us surrounded," Su-Jin said. "I cannot find a clear escape route." "Then we make one," Hyunwoo replied. He concentrated his fire on the weakest enemy ship. The alien destroyer exploded, creating a gap in the enemy formation. "There!" Su-Jin pointed to the opening. "I can get us through." The Silent Dawn accelerated toward the gap, but Thexnor had expected this move. 2 more ships moved to block the escape route. "Weapons hit on our port engine." Bo-Ra's voice was strained. "We are losing power." The ghost ship was trapped. Enemy fire was hitting them from all sides. The stealth system was failing under the damage. Parts of the Silent Dawn became visible as the quantum field collapsed. "There it is!" an alien gunner shouted over the radio. "I can see the hull." More weapons fire concentrated on the visible sections. The Silent Dawn's armor was strong, but it could not hold forever under such heavy attack. In the engine room, Bora made a desperate decision. She began overloading the reactor core, preparing to destroy the ship rather than let it be captured. "Bora, what are you doing?" Daeho asked over the communication system. "If they take this ship, they learn all our secrets," she replied. "I will not let that happen." But Hyunwoo had a different plan. He targeted the enemy ship that was blocking their escape route and fired everything the Silent Dawn had left. The alien vessel exploded in a massive fireball. "Now!" he shouted. Sujin pushed the damaged engines past their limits. The Silent Dawn shot through the gap just as Bora triggered a controlled explosion in the engine room. The blast destroyed critical systems to prevent enemy capture, but it also crippled the ship. "Hull breach in engineering," someone reported. "Bora is trapped." The ship's automatic system sealed the damaged section to prevent atmosphere loss, but Bora was on the wrong side of the emergency doors. She was trapped in a compartment that was venting air into space. "Override the blast doors," Daeho ordered. "I cannot," Sujin replied with tears in her eyes. "The controls are damaged. Over." The communication system, they could hear Bora's voice getting weaker as her air ran out. "Tell my family. Tell them I kept the ship safe." The signal went silent. Bora was gone. Hyunwoo was also hit during the escape. Alien weapons fire had penetrated the hull near the weapons station. He was badly injured, but still alive when they found him. Did we get away?" he asked weakly. "Yes," Daeho told him. "We escaped. You saved us all." Hyunwoo smiled and closed his eyes. He died an hour later from his injuries. The Silent Dawn limped away from the battle zone. The ship was barely functioning. The stealth system was destroyed. The engines were failing. Half the weapons were offline. But something strange happened as news of the battle spread. Instead of celebrating the ghost ship's near capture, alien crews became more afraid than ever. "Did you hear?" one Valerian officer asked another. "Thexnor found the Wraith and hit it with 12 ships. It still escaped." 12 ships could not stop one ghost vessel? The other replied with fear. "And they say it killed 2 more ships before disappearing. Nothing can stop the Wraith. It is truly death itself." The legend was growing stronger, even as the real ship grew weaker. Across Valerian space, crews began to believe that the ghost ship was supernatural. No ordinary vessel could survive an attack by 12 warships and still escape. Some alien commanders started refusing missions in areas where the Wraith had been seen. Others demanded extra ships for protection. Fear was spreading faster than facts. On the crippled Silent Dawn, Daeho and Sujin struggled to keep their ship running. They had lost 2 friends and their greatest weapon, but they had gained something else, proof that the legend was now more powerful than reality. "What do we do now?" Sujin asked. "We cannot fight anymore, the ship is too damaged." Daeho looked at the stars through a cracked window. "We do what we have always done. We become the thing they fear most. But now we do it differently." He activated the ship's communication system and sent a message on all frequencies. "This is the Wraith. You found us. You hurt us. You killed our friends. But you could not stop us. Death cannot be killed. Fear cannot be destroyed. We are coming for you all." The message was short, but it spread through alien space like wildfire. Combined with the story of the 12-ship battle, it convinced many aliens that the Wraith was not just a ship, but something supernatural. Thexnor studied the quantum traces left by the escaping ghost ship. He had learned much from the battle. The human stealth technology was damaged but not destroyed. The Wraith would return. "Deploy more detection grids," he ordered. "Next time we use 20 ships instead of 12. But privately, he wondered if even 20 ships would be enough. The Wraith had survived impossible odds and escaped to fight another day. Perhaps the stories were right. Perhaps they were fighting something that could not be killed. In the damaged Silent Dawn, Daeho and Sujin continued their journey through space. They were no longer the invisible hunters they had been, but they had become something else, a legend that lived in the nightmares of their enemies. The war was far from over, and the Wraith still had work to do. The Silent Dawn drifted through space like a dying animal. Half its systems were offline. The hull had dozens of holes patched with emergency materials. The once mighty ghost ship was now barely able to stay together. Captain Dae-ho and Soo-jin were the only crew members left alive. They took turns sleeping and working, trying to keep their broken ship running. Every day was a struggle to survive. Admiral Tae-min contacted them on a heavily encrypted channel. His voice was excited but also sad when he saw the state of their ship. "We heard about the battle with Thexnor," he said. "The whole galaxy is talking about how the Wraith escaped from 12 ships. You have become more than just a legend. You are a myth." "Our ship is dying," Dae-ho replied. "We cannot fight anymore. The stealth system is destroyed." "I know. That is why I am calling. We have been building more ships like yours, an entire fleet of ghost vessels, but they will not be ready for 3 months. We need you to do one last mission." "What mission?" "Thexnor is coming to Earth. He has assembled the largest invasion fleet in Valerian history, 1,000 ships. He plans to destroy our home planet and capture our shipyards. You are the only thing standing between Earth and total destruction." Dae-ho looked at Soo-jin. She was exhausted and grieving for their dead friends. But her eyes still held determination. "What can one broken ship do against 1,000? Soo-jin asked. "What you have always done," Admiral Tae-min replied. "Make them afraid. Make them believe the impossible. Buy us time for the new fleet to arrive." The invasion fleet was already moving toward Earth. Thexnor commanded it from his new flagship, a massive vessel called the Deathbringer. He had learned from his previous battles with the Wraith. This time he brought overwhelming force. 1,000 ships against one damaged ghost vessel, he told his officers. Even the Wraith cannot escape those odds. But Thexnor had also equipped his fleet with the quantum detection grids. Every ship carried sensors that could track the ghost ship's quantum signature. The Wraith would not be able to hide this time. The Silent Dawn intercepted the invasion fleet 3 days from Earth. Dae-ho and Soo-jin watched in horror as the alien armada filled their screens. There were more ships than they had ever seen in one place. "They have enough firepower to crack a planet," Soo-jin whispered. "Then we better make sure they do not reach Earth," Dae-ho replied. The ship's stealth system was barely functioning. They could become invisible for only a few minutes at a time before the damaged generators overheated. It would have to be enough. Soo-jin had spent weeks working on a new plan. She had studied the wreckage of their old stealth system and found a way to use the broken components differently. "Instead of making us invisible," she explained, "I can make the quantum field unstable. It will flicker on and off rapidly. To their sensors, it will look like we are appearing and disappearing randomly." "Will that help us fight?" Dae-ho asked. "No, but it will make us look like something supernatural. Something that exists between dimensions. Something that cannot be killed because it is not fully real." They activated the modified stealth system as they approached the invasion fleet. The Silent Dawn began to flicker in and out of existence. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. Then it appeared in a different location entirely. "Contact!" a Valerian sensor operator shouted. "The Wraith is here, but the readings are impossible." "Explain," Thexnor demanded. "The ship is phasing between dimensions, sir. It appears for 3 seconds, disappears for 5, then appears somewhere else. Our weapons cannot lock onto it." Thexnor watched his screens in fascination and fear. The ghost ship seemed to be teleporting around his fleet. It would appear, fire a few shots, then vanish before his ships could return fire. But the Silent Dawn was not actually teleporting. Soo-jin was using the ship's damaged engines to make short jumps while the stealth system flickered. It created the illusion of supernatural movement. "All ships spread out," Thexnor ordered. "Do not let it get close to the command vessels." The invasion fleet began to spread into a wider formation. But this was exactly what Dae-ho had hoped for. Scattered ships were easier to isolate and attack. The Silent Dawn struck the edge of the formation first. A destroyer suddenly exploded as the ghost ship appeared next to it, fired, and vanished again. Seconds later, a cruiser lost power as the Wraith struck from a different direction. "It is everywhere at once," panicked voices shouted over the radio. How can one ship move so fast? Impossible readings, sensor operators reported. The quantum signature suggests the ship is existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Fear began to spread through the invasion fleet. Captains who had never believed in the Wraith stories were now seeing the impossible with their own eyes. The ghost ship seemed to be breaking the laws of physics. Actually, the Silent Dawn was breaking apart. The constant stress of flickering between stealth modes was destroying what was left of the ship's systems. Sparks flew from every control panel. The hull creaked and groaned under the strain. "How long can we keep this up?" Sujin asked as she struggled to keep the engines running. "Long enough," Daeho replied, but privately, he knew they had maybe an hour before the ship tore itself apart. Then something unexpected happened. 3 Valerian ships on the edge of the formation suddenly turned and fled. Their captains had decided that fighting a supernatural enemy was not worth dying for. "Cowards," Thexnor shouted over the communication channels. "Return to formation immediately." But fear was contagious. When other crews saw ships running away, they began to wonder if they should run too. The ghost ship was supposed to be just advanced technology, but what they were seeing looked like magic. More ships began to retreat. First a few, then dozens. Thexnor's perfect formation was falling apart as captains chose survival over duty. "The fleet is breaking up," his tactical officer reported. "We have lost nearly 200 ships to desertion. Maintain course," Thexnor ordered. "We still have 800 ships, more than enough to destroy Earth." But the Silent Dawn was not finished. As the fleet continued toward Earth, the ghost ship began broadcasting on all frequencies. It was a message that every ship in the Armada could hear. "I am death. I am the shadow between the stars. I am the price of your crimes against humanity. You cannot kill what is already dead. You cannot destroy what exists beyond your understanding. Turn back now or join the darkness forever." The message was spoken by Daeho, but his voice was distorted by the failing communication system. To alien ears, it sounded like the voice of something not quite alive. Combined with the ship's impossible movements and supernatural appearance, the message convinced many aliens that they were fighting something beyond natural law. More ships began to retreat. "Hold position," Thexnor shouted desperately. "It is just a ship with advanced technology. We can defeat it." But his own officers were beginning to doubt. They had seen the quantum readings. They had watched the Wraith appear and disappear like a ghost. Some of them were starting to believe the stories about supernatural human vessels. The final blow came when the Silent Dawn appeared directly in front of Thexnor's flagship. For a moment, the two ships faced each other across the darkness of space. The massive Deathbringer with its 1,000 weapons and the small flickering ghost ship that seemed to exist only partially in reality. Then Daeho sent one final message, broadcast to every ship in the fleet. "Look behind you." Thexnor turned his sensors toward Earth. What he saw made his blood run cold. Dozens of new contacts were appearing on his screens. Human ships were decloaking all around the solar system. The new ghost fleet had arrived. Sujin had been monitoring human communication channels. She turned to Daeho with tears of joy in her eyes. "The new ships are here. Admiral Tae-min kept his promise." 47 new stealth vessels surrounded the invasion fleet. To Valerian sensors, it looked like an army of supernatural ships had materialized from nowhere. Each one flickered and phased like the original Wraith. "Impossible," Thexnor whispered. "The humans have created an entire fleet of ghost ships. Actually, only 12 of the ships were real. The rest were sensor echoes and false contacts created by the new stealth technology. But to the terrified Valerian fleet, it looked like they were surrounded by a supernatural navy. The final straw came when the Silent Dawn, its systems completely overloaded, began to break apart. To alien observers, it looked like the original. Wraith was multiplying, splitting into multiple ghost ships as it died. That was when the invasion fleet broke completely. Hundreds of ships fled in all directions. Captains who had served the Valerian Empire faithfully for decades abandoned their posts, rather than fight an enemy that seemed to defy death itself. "Retreat," Thexnor finally ordered. "All ships, retreat, to safe distance." but most of his fleet was already gone. The greatest invasion force in Valyrian history was scattered across space, running from an enemy they could not understand. As the aliens fled, the Silent Dawn finally gave up its long struggle. The ship's hull cracked open, venting its remaining atmosphere into space. Daeho and Sujin barely made it to the escape pod before their vessel died. They watched from the pod as their ship broke apart. The Silent Dawn, the ghost vessel that had terrorized an empire, became debris floating in the darkness. But its legend lived on, across the galaxy,